Shalom everyone. iVision Live is an initiative of the Department of Diaspora Affairs in the World Zionist Organization. Our department is headed by Mrs. Gusti Yoshua Braverman, head of the department and a member of the WZO executive. With the department Shlichim and Zionist federations around the world, we work with Jewish communities to strengthen their connections with Israel and Zionism. Tonight's program is recorded, so those of you that are not willing to be recorded, please switch off your camera. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to write in the chat. Tonight, what we just heard was a 1-minute siren in Israel that marks the beginning of Yom HaZikaron, Memorial Day for the IDF fallen soldiers and victims of terror. In today's iVision Live session, we will hear the story of Tamar Ariel, Zichrona Livracha, the first female Orthodox to serve as a navigator in the Israeli Air Force. We will hear about Tamar from her mother, Anat Ariel. Anat, we thank you for being with us tonight and look forward to hear more about your daughter, Tamar. Shalom, Anat. Anat, can you hear us now?
Now I can hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being with us, and we look forward to hear. Bevakasha, Anat.
Thank you very much. First of all, I'm very excited to be speaking and to the North American, I can say my brothers and sisters in North America. This week I spoke in Spanish and I have family in Mexico and Cuba, in Puerto Rico and Miami, but now I also have family in New York, so if someone's watching me, hello. It's a special day today, and I thank Orit that the organization has invited me to talk about Tamar, and I hope that by the end of our session, my talk, you will understand why I was asked to talk about Tamar. I can start just by introducing myself. My name is Anat Ariel. My maiden name is Tuchman. I grew up in Puerto Rico, and my mother's side is Mexican, and my grandparents are from Poland. My husband's parents are from Poland and England, and this is a story of Zionism, of the wandering Jew that is all over the world, and I ended up in Israel. After high school, I came on my year course, a Young Judea year course, my youth movement, and I met my husband then, Hanan, and since then I've been living in Masuot Yitzhak. It's a moshav, it's a village near Ashkelon. And we have 6 kids and 3 granddaughters and 4 grandsons. So I'm very proud of that, and I always tell everybody that fact about my life. Tamar was our 3rd child, and as I like to tell everyone, people that live in a village, or children that live in a village, but especially Tamar, she loved everything that had to do with climbing trees and rollerblades and bicycles. She had everything that had wheels on. She even had a big wheel that was brought by her grandparents from America. Every time we looked for her in the evening when, time for supper, I would call her, Tamar, where are you? We had to go look for her at the basketball court or the tennis court. She was always playing football, or actually she was playing a lot with boys. She was quite a tomboy. But at the same time, she also liked to play with the Barbies, and she was, a cute girl. But on the other side, she had a lot of confidence that when she wanted to play basketball, no girls wanted to play, just boys are playing. So she would play. She didn't care about who's playing, as long as she's playing. For her bat mitzvah, for example, she asked me Ima, can you please tell your friends to bring me gifts, not only beautiful jewelry or perfume or all kinds of beautiful things for girls. I also want a basketball, Letterman knife. I also want a flashlight, all kinds of things that only boys get. So, and she got them. When she was little, she also was very conscious about money. She asked me one day, well, how do you make money? I said, we work, Abba and Ima work, and then we go take the money. I mean, we get money for our work, and then we go buy food, clothing, we go to the movies. That's what we do with the money, but we need to work for the money. So she said, I want to work also. So what are you going to do? She's not even 10. And she said, okay, Ima, can you help me find an idea? She couldn't do babysitting, or she couldn't really wash cars like other older kids did. So she decided she's going to sell salad. I bought the lettuce. I cleaned the lettuce. I cut the lettuce. But she went walking around in the moshav trying to sell her salads. And she did. She had 10 shekels, and she got another 10 shekels. I don't remember what she bought with it, but she was very, very happy that she had earned her money. Tamari was very confident, but at the same time, she was very humble. And she had a lot of grace. She was always smiling. People were always smiling back at her. And she always got what she wanted, but with a lot of humbleness. Another something I remember right now is when she used to play. Now I can ask you, and you can think on your own for a second or two, what musical instrument she played. Right, she played the drums. She didn't just play the organ or the guitar. She wanted to play the drums because there's a lot of action in playing the drums. So there was a training room for the drums, with the drums, and she asked the lady in charge of the room, can you please fix some things that should, the room should look better if there's a shelf here for the books, and also if you move over the drums, then there's more space to walk in. She was always looking for how to make things better. And she always asked with a very humble and, graceful way. Also, she would always volunteer. If there was a big party in the moshav, in the village, she would always volunteer, come earlier and, set the tables. And she was always last, even as a child, with the broom in her hand, cleaning, being the last one to leave the hall. We can think of many of the other things, but I really want to get along. But at the same time, you're trying to get the notion who Tamar was. I'm saying now, when we got to high school, she went to a boarding school, an ulpana, which is like a yeshiva high school, but for girls, ulpana. We're from a religious home, but this ulpana was more like a bit more religious, let's put it that way. And she wanted to go there with her friends from the moshav, and she was extremely happy, and she even got stronger. She was religious, and she was wearing her skirts all the way down to the floor. And I remember I didn't know how to dress for the parent-teacher meetings. So one day I came with my hat and a skirt. Sometimes I came without a hat and just the skirt, or sometimes I came with the hat and my pants. And then one day Tamar said to me, Ima, just be you. You're you and I'm me, and everything is beseder. Akol beseder. Everything is okay. And in the Upana, she was also, as Tamar, she was a leader. She was always like, people were asking her, what are we doing tonight? And she always had ideas. At the same time, she was also very active in Bnei Akiva. So things she did in Bnei Akiva, in meetings at Bnei Akiva, she did at the Upana. She was, of course, very loved and she was trusted by her friends. And even her rabbi once told us that he was late for a class, and he called Tamar. Tamar, can you start getting the girls together and start talking about something? It was a Torah lesson. So she rapidly went to get the papers. He had said where the papers are, and they started learning, and then he was in, and everything was settled because Tamar had organized everything. There's a lot of stories of the Upana. I can say definitely she loved the socializing more than the learning. But she had the potential, which we saw later on, which actually we knew she had the potential. But if a kid is having fun in school, we decided, my husband and I, we're not going to ruin that. If he's having fun and goes to school, in a happy way, we're not going to ruin that. Later on, when she was in 11th grade, she got from the army the Tzav Rishon, which it's called the first call. You get the first call when you're like 16 and a half, and they call you in to, see what's good for you, what's adequate for you, if you're, what kind of thing you want to do in the army, what the army needs or whatever you want, kind of set the right position for you in the army. And she went. It was the Israeli Academy, Air Force Academy, and she went through the first testing. But then it stops, and then you go into 12th grade. And during that year of 12th grade, she was very much, she was debating whether to go to the army, or the other option is a national service. In Israel, lots of religious girls, I'm talking about 2007, that's 13 years ago, almost all religious girls, I'm not talking about Haredi girls, I'm talking about national religious girls, were going to Sherut Leumi, which is a national service in hospitals or child homes, lots of schools, there's a lot of good jobs at the Sherut Leumi. So she was really debating whether to go to Sherut Leumi or to go to the army. She was really afraid at some point that if she goes to the army, where there's so many boys and so much new things, and it opens up the world for you actually when you go to the army, that she won't remain dati, won't remain religious, and she was a bit afraid of that. So when 12th grade almost ends, she decides that she's going to Sherut Leumi. She she canceled actually the army, and she stayed for 2 years during the national service. Her first year, she stayed as a counselor in her school, in her boarding school. And the second year, she was a youth coordinator, Komunarit B'Bnei Akiva, if someone knows what that is, of Bnei Akiva, in Kibbutz Alumim. Now, the interesting thing is Kibbutz Alumim is right near Gaza. It's like on the border. And that winter she was there, 2008, there was a war, a mini war called Oferet Yetzukah. And this war against Gaza, terrorists in Gaza. And she used to see the planes up in the air bombing the terrorists. And one of her chanichot, the girls she counseled, said to me years later that she said to her, I am going to be a pilot one day. And something happened to Tamar then, it was around Hanukkah that year, December, January. She decided, and she came and told us, Mom and Dad, Abba, Ima, I am going to the army when I finish the Sherut Leumi. So what do we do? Okay, now try to think what we said. But I must tell you that we were very, very happy. One of my friends, I remember, said to me, Anat, why are you letting her go to do the army? She did 2 years of Sherut Leumi, of course, after high school. She has to go, go to the university. You know what happens later. She has to get married, get on with her life. So I said to her, first of all, Tamar didn't ask me. She's 20 and she's telling me, she's not asking me. And number two, we think it's very good. I think Tamar is going to do a really good job in the Army, and she looks pretty happy. And as I told you before, when your child is happy, mom and dad are happy. And we start seeing some pictures of Tamar, just, free pictures. And at this point, of course, she came back to the Israeli Academy, the Air Force Academy, and she said to them, I want to complete my testing to see if I'm okay and I can come and do the course, the pilot course. And of course, she passed one test, then she passed another test, and around Pesach time, she had a 5-day grueling test, 5 days out in, I don't even know where, in the desert somewhere. And after 5 days, she finished, and she told me, Ima, on the way home, she said, Ima, did it. I'm going to be a pilot. I'm going to the Israeli Air Force pilot's course. Of course, we were all very, very happy. And once again, this a lot of confidence, a lot of, when Tamar wanted something, she always got it. But she fought really hard for it. She worked really hard for it. She did a lot of homework. Remember that I told you she didn't really study much during high school. So she had to do a lot of physics and a lot of work, math and physics and all kinds of aerodynamics. She had to learn so much, but she wanted to do it. And when Tamar wants to do something, she does it. She went through very grueling training. She used to cry at night to Ima, but she was very happy. We saw how happy she is, how smiling she always was. A year after, you can see her skirt on this picture now. I want to tell you actually something about the skirt now. Remember that I told you that Tamar was religious, and wanted to stay religious. So there are 3 things she decided that she's going to really, really take good care of and do. One of them is use her skirt and have her uniform as a skirt. Of course, not while training on the plane. She had her overall, of course, and her uniform for like running and stuff like that. But her skirt was her dress code. Number 2 was she decided she was going to pray before the meal and after the meal. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, and of course Birkat Hamazon after the praying, after the meal. And number 3, something that is called Shmirat Negiah, which means a girl and a boy don't touch each other unless they're married or they're family. So Tamar had to explain her new friends in the Army that she does not shake hands, she does not hug with other people, with men, and something that is very mutual between the 3 things that I have just mentioned is that everything you can see with your eyes. It's not like saying, I promise I'm going to say Shema Yisrael in bed at night, under my pillow, under my blanket, and no one knows what's going on. But here she had to explain. People were asking her, and she was very, very savlanit, she had a lot of patience, and with lots of humbleness, and with, of course, the grace she always had. She explained, and people were really listening to her and even learning stuff about Jewishness, how to, even Purim, she explained to them about the Megillah and all kinds of mitzvot that have to do with Purim. So this is something that went throughout all her years. A year after she started the Army, she was selected to be in the combat pilot course. And this is before she became a navigator. She had to do her testing, and she flew with her counselor, with her counselor on a plane. On the fifth flight, her commander and her flight instructor decided she's ready to do her solo flight. So she went up in the air and did her solo flight. And when she landed, she made a little mistake with the brakes, with her legs, and the plane started running out of the runway, going like, left, leaving the runway. And when this happens, that's what she learned in the notebook. When they learn their notebooks, you have to eject yourself from the plane. So she ejected herself from the plane. And this thing that happens is, it's like a rocket that flies up around 300 feet. And then, of course, she falls to the ground with her parachute. And during this incredible thing that happened, she broke a vertebra and she was home for half a year. Very, very sad. She didn't know if she was going to go back, if they were going to take her back. But they were just waiting. We know today that they were just waiting for her to be healthy so she can come back. And this is what happened half a year later, after she was at home for almost half a year. She went back, but this time she became a navigator, which means she's always together with a pilot in the same plane. During their course, they also do their BA. They have their degree done. They do a lot of flying. They become officers. They do a lot of things that I don't have the time now to explain or to tell you. But after 3.5 years, she became an Israeli Air Force navigator. And she was the first religious girl to finish the course. So everything was very special. As you saw previously, she had the skirt. She always had everybody was looking at her because of the skirt. And who is that? What's going on here? There's a religious girl there walking on the, at the ceremony. And we were all very proud. The whole family was there. 3.5 years. Now, I remind you, she finished high school 5.5 years before that, but she was such a happy person and she also did her BA degree during the course. So that was good for that mother that asked me, your daughter has to study. Later on, a week later, she was already put into the battalion, the squadron, in Ramat David, which is in the Israel Valley in the north. And she became a navigator in the F-16 combat plane. And also it takes a few months till they become operative. And 1.5 years later, she was already ready to do operational combat gihot, and it was Tzuk Eitan. Tzuk Eitan was the war in 2014, also against Gaza, and she was one of the most. She did so many. She flew over Gaza and threw bombs around 23 times during 50 days. She was. She felt she's doing what needs to be done to save our country. And she was very happy, and it wasn't easy bombing in Gaza, but she knew she was doing the right thing for her country. She felt at this point, something we read later on, she wrote 2 months before she went into the army, she felt that it was her turn to be part of a chain of generations that take care and save, I can say, our country and our people, or the Jewish people. And she felt it was her turn to do it. And that's what she was doing during Tzuk Eitan, and I'm sure other flights she had that we didn't know about. After Tzuk Eitan, things went back to normal. and she took a vacation, a 3-week vacation to Nepal. And at that point, I think right now, she didn't come back from that vacation. I can talk about it later on. I think, Ori, we can watch a 15-minute movie that will give you more of Tamar, so you can get to know her more. And at the end, we'll have about 10 minutes for questions, and I'm also going to tell you about Nepal, what happened there.
קשר עין בצורת רייש בנחל, צד ימין.
קשר עין.
ממנו יוצאים שני ערוצים, הדרומיים ביניהם עושה צורת...
פרט המטרה?
רואה.
אוקיי, זה רחוק או קרוב?
מעט רחוק.
אנחנו מאוד רחוקים מטליל, נכון?
חיובי.
את רואה את המטרה?
כן, קטע לבן.
בנחל הזה היית בטיול רחוב? פה?
כן, הייתי פה באופניים.
בנחל המציהו?
לא, אומרת הקמח.
לא, בנחל המציהו פה. יד?
לא.
אוקיי.
כשנגיע תראה לי את המערה.
אוקיי.
תודה.
איזה נחל הכי יפה לטייל פה בסביבה?
פרן?
לא. נחל קטן יפה נורא.
נחל ברק?
יפה. היית בנחל ברק?
לא.
לא היית?
בבוקר הייתי בו.
אם לא, ברגל. לא היית?
לא, אף פעם.
אוי ואבוי לי. אחר זה מסורת יצחק? זה מה שמטיילים? מסורת יצחקתם אותי.
היי, את אוהבת ללכת? שלום, מה את עושה? מה את רוקדת? מלך, כטלפונגו. מה את רוקדת? מה? תגידי את זה עוד פעם חזק.
היא הייתה ילדה של משתלבת עם כולם. משחקת כדורגל עם בנים, עושה עבודת צמידים עם הבנות, כותבת במחברת בכתב יפה ככה שבבת מצווה שלה. עשינו באמת קונספט כזה של כדורסל, כדורגל, כך קישטנו את העולם. והיא ביקשה ממני, אמא תגידי לחברים שלכם אם הם שואלים מה אני רוצה, קצת קוטנות של בנים, כמו לא רק תכשיטים ובוסר ומחברת ומרגבת וכאלה, בבקשה גם עולה, כדור, אנס.
אני רוצה לסיים בתפילה קטנה. ריבונו של עולם, הנה בא המועד והגיע הזמן. עצה תפילה של מצווה לפניך, משתילה ירקים אשתול בגניך. אנא השם, עשני בת כשרה לפניך.
אנא אלי, עשה אותי כלי לשליחותך. רחל, היא לא דמות של עצמה, היא לא חושבת על עצמה. רחל היא דמות של הכלל, היא דמות של כולם. דווקא שקשה לה, דווקא ברגע העתיד שהיא עומדת להתחתן. היא לא חושבת על הבית שלה, על הילדים, לבנות בית בישראל. היא חושבת על אחותה, דווקא על. היא מוותרת על הכל, מוותרת מעצמה ונותנת לאחותה. צריכים לקחת את זה לעצמנו. לקחת את דמות הכלל הזאת, ולהיות ככה, להיות לחיות את זה. לא לחשוב רק על עצמנו. אז כן, פה באולפנה, לחפש בת שעצוב לך, לחפש איפה אפשר לעזור, איפה אפשר לעשות טוב.
יפה מאוד.
זה מוכן פה של הארוז, עיר קנאי לדרמן, עם קטנצ'יק, מה עוד יש? קניתי מאזריאל סידור לשבת, יש בו גם את כל החומש, את כל החומשים, קניתי שבת וגם רש"י שאם אני אלמד באמצע שבוע.
נראה לך שיהיה לך זמן ללמוד באמצע שבוע?
אולי.
רק פיזיקה תצטרכי ללמוד. אווירודינמיקה, דינמיקה.
כל מיני שטויות. מה עוד? דורדרן של בנים.
למה?
אקס. כאילו יותר טוב, מה לעשות?
אוקיי.
אני צריכה כאילו להיות יותר עצמאית, יותר ביטחון, לנהל את הטיסה, אני קצת עדיין תלמיד כזה.
אבל את רק חודש בצבא, רק שבוע וחצי טסה?
אבל הם לעצמאות, לאוויראות.
מה מדריך השבוע אמר לך?
לשמור על מצב אף. אומרים לי את זה מאז שהתחלתי.
מה זה מצב אף?
יציב. יציב ובצורה הנכונה.
זה על היום שתמר עשתה בו סולו, בעצם הטיסה הראשונה במטוס קרב לבד. בעצם הפרח טייס יורד מהמטוס, אחרי שעושה את הטיסה לבד, וכל המגמה שלו מחכה למטה בשורה, וכולם בועטים בו, שופכים עליו מים, זה אירוע כזה. ובתמר אף אחד לא יכול לבעוט, כי היא שמרה נגיעה.
אני תמר, ואני דתייה,
בשביל זה יש לנו פה מיני טוב, במיוחד בשבילך, בואי בבקשה. וואו!
סליחה!
וואו! מה בדיוק הפחד שלך?
אני מפחדת שנוגעים בי.
אוקיי, אין שום בעיה. תמר, אנחנו כולנו לא ניגע בך, ובואי נסביר בבקשה פה.
אז גייסו, ידענו באותו יום שהיא טסה סולו, לקחו את כל הבנות שהיו בבית ספר לטיסה באותו זמן, אני הייתי חצי שנה מעליה, אז לקחו אותנו מאמצע השיעור, הוציאו את כל הבנות, עמדנו שם כולם עם מדלי מים, מוכנות לבעוט בה ולשפוך עליה מים, ובום, שמענו...
לא יודע. תנטוש! למה הוא לא נוטש?
אני לא בטוח זה תמר, כבר זה מישהו אחר. היא תמר. היא הייתה אמורה לנחות עכשיו.
וואו אחי.
בוא נקווה מאוד לראות תמר. אני שמעתי לקטע,
אני גם שמעתי.
אני לא יודע אם שמעתי לקטע. ההתאמה שלך להיות לוחם לצוות אוויר היא לא עומדת בספק. ולכן את ממשיכה בקורס טייס, בכוח מלא. איפה בדיוק, באיזה מגמה, אז התהליך של הקורס הוא תהליך הערכתי מתמשך, שהמשימה היא בסוף היא משימה משותפת של המערכת ושל המועמד, למצוא את המקום המתאים. אם אני אקח עכשיו X שנים קדימה, את תסתכלי אחורה עם חיוך, מה שנקרא. אין לי ספק בכלל. תהי מעולה בתפקידך. ואני אמרתי לך, מהיכרותי האישית איתך כל משימה שהיא, ואני טייס דו מושבי, אני יוצא למשימה הזאת איתך, ברצון רב.
עוד מעט אני נוגע בשמיים, עולה הדופק והלב שלי נמס, אני כבר לא יודע איך להתייחס, יש לי כנפיים, לשנייה הזאת נלחמתי בשיניים, כל כך חששתי.
מסוגלות 2, עדיין לא מקבלים, אנחנו מתקרבים ונודיע עם הספרים מבחינת מזג. רות מיד נודיע שמקבלים ויורצה. איכשהו לעבור את הענן שנראה שנקבל. אוקיי, אנחנו סגורים.
התפיסה האחרונה של תמר, מה שאירוני, כאילו, גיחה כל כך מדהימה שזאת הייתה גם הגיחה האחרונה. היה אפשר לראות שכאילו אין מישהו שלוקח על עצמו את השליטה על הגיחה הזאת, עד שבאיזשהו שלב תמר, כמו שתמר ידעת לעשות והיינו רגילים לשמוע אותה ככה על הקשר, זה מתחיל ברצף של הוראות לפי בדף, טק, 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 טק.
בית יש מהיר על אף שלכם בגובה 9 מעליכם.
בקשריים עוברים חצרים להישמע.
להישמע.
3 ירוק לך.
אז הוא כאילו, רואים שעובר אצלו איזשהו תהליך בראש, הוא אומר, אם תמר אמרה, אז כנראה מה שאני צריך לעשות, עושה 1, 2, 3, 4, תמר עוברת לנהל את הגיחה.
בשנה האחרונה היא התחילה קשר זוגי עם בחור מהטייסת. היא מאוד התלבטה בהתחלה, כי הוא בחור חילוני, ויש לה את העקרונות שלה, הדברים שמאוד חשובים לה. היא התייעצה עם הרב שלמה וייס מהאופנה. להיות בקשר עם בחור חילוני ידעה שזה מורכב.
זאת טפצ'וק, החובטת המדהימה. ראו את הבקן, את הפורן האימתני. מגיע לכל כדור.
בסוף היא החליטה, היא הייתה שלמה עם זה, והיא זרמה והיא חוותה אהבה מאוד מאוד גדולה איתו. הם היו חברים 10 חודשים, היא הייתה מאושרת. זו הייתה תקופה מקסימה שהיא ברחה, והיא פתאום השקיעה בעצמה בצורה נשית כזאת. היא התאפרה, והיא קנתה שמלות, והיא באה להראות לי את נעלי עקב שהיא קנתה בפעם הראשונה שהיא קנתה נעלי עקב, זה היה וואו.
ותמר במרכז התמונה.
מגיע הבוקר של הפס, מתארגנים. נתנו כולם ביחד, אבל כרגיל לי היה קשה. ותמר איתי, אין שאלה, זה לא משנה שדניאל ודפנה מקדימה. בסדר, תתקדמו, היא אומרת להם לאיתי. אנחנו הולכים בתוך סופה, והיא בחוויה, כאילו, מציעה את המצלמה ועוד פעם סרטון. צחקנו שהסטטיסטיקה אומרת שבכל טרק מת בן אדם אחד. והוא מת יום לפני, אז אנחנו בטוחים. והיא מצלמת, והיא אומרת, את הדבר הכי משוגע שעשיתי בחיים שלי. היא מצלמת אותי ואני צועקת בשלג. איש מת פה אתמול, מה אנחנו עושות? והיא מצלמת מסביב את האנשים, ויורדים עלינו פתיתים של שלג. והיא אומרת, זאת החוויה הכי משוגעת שעשיתי בחיים שלי. והכל לבן, שאני לא יכולה לראות כבר את האנשים קדימה. והיא התלהבה, היא אמרה, ככה זה לטוס בתוך ענן. הלוואי שיכלתי להסביר את ההרגשה הזאת לכולם. והגענו לבית הראשון. אין לי הרבה זיכרונות משם, האמת, כי ישר התעלפתי, ואז היה איזה 3 שעות שלא הייתי בהכרה. ושאני פותחת את העיניים, מי מעליי? למה? מי יכול להיות? חושבת מעליי, אמרתי לי, טוב שקם. והידיים שלי על הבטן שלה. אני קולטת שאני מרגישה את הקו של החזייה, ואני מבינה שהידיים שלי על הבטן החשופה שלה, ואני פשוט לא האמנתי. היה מינוס 27 מעלות, והיא שמה את הידיים שלי הקפואות על הבטן שלה. היא מדברת איתי ושואלת אותי שאלות, לוודא שאני בהכרה. והיא אומרת לי, טוב, את חייבת לאכול. היה רעש ממש חזק מהסופה, ואני הכרחתי אותם לבדוק, אולי זה הליקופטר. כל חיל האוויר על הרגליים. תמר
מנחיתה פה מטוס.
You sit so pretty west of the one. Spotlights with yellow icing, just a mirror for the sun. Just a mirror for the sun. Just a mirror for the sun.
Okay.
Yes, can you hear me?
Movie.
Yes, everybody can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, so that gave you a little bit of more of Tamar. What we saw at the end was after Tukeitan, as I said, she went on vacation. In Israel, when you finish the army, young people, when they finish the army, they go on trips to South America, to India, Thailand, and they do like half a year of hiking. So Tamar decided if she hadn't done that she wants 3 weeks. She had 3 vacations, so she wanted to go to Nepal. She found friends and they went together. They had a beautiful time, and they decided to do the Annapurna circuit, which takes about 7, 8 to 10 days. And when they're at the summit, an unexpected snowstorm hit them. They usually, when you go on the Annapurna circuit, you can usually do it in April or in October. That's when most of the people go. About 20,000 people do the circuit a day. And this unexpected snowstorm was very, very, very bad. And it started that Tamar started helping her friends at a moment when she decided that, we need to survive. It's a war of survival. She became a commander. All she learned from her army experience, she was an officer. So she behaved as an officer. She became a commander, and she started giving all kinds of directions and instructions. This is after she had already saved the life of her friend Maya, which we saw at the movie. And even when going down you cannot see a meter, not even a meter of, because of the snow. She was helping the porter, the Nepali porter, trying to picking him up, because he was the only, that was her faith, that he was the only one that can save them. And he kept on falling, and she picked them up, and her friends were telling her, Tamar, you're going to lose all your energy. Stop. Just walk. But she kept on saying, no, he's going to save us. And I trust myself. I'm fine. I'm okay. But at the end, she just didn't make it. Tamar died of hypothermia. And she saved lives. And for us and for many of her friends, and the story we tell, she was a real hero. She was a commander up in the mountain. She behaved like a Tzahal, Katzin b'Tzahal, a Tzahal officer. And I'll stop here. And if there are any questions, or if people want to ask something, or they sent you questions, I'll gladly answer them.
Thank you, Anat. Toda rabba. I open the floor for questions.
Rega, I can't hear you well.
I'm saying toda rabba,
okay.
And I open the floor for questions. If anyone has, you're welcome to write on the chat box. Any question to Anat, to Tamar's mother? It is a different story, I must say. Anat, it's a different war, a different combat. And she saved her friends not in the battlefield, in a different type of battlefield, as we saw in the movie. And it is special to hear.
Yes.
Are you in touch with her friends? Do they come?
Yes. We're in touch with her friends, and they keep in touch with us. We keep in touch with them. We were recently at Maya's wedding, the girl we just saw. She just recently got married. And we also had long talks with them because they had a long time, they had guilt feelings that they were saved and Tamar passed away. And we had a lot of talks with them, telling them that, you know, this is destiny. Tamar died and you're alive, so that means you need to be alive and just get on with your life, and it's okay. There is no one's angry at anybody. We are a family with a lot of faith in God, and we believe that this was Tamar's turn to go back up there with our, you know, with our God. He took her back because we all actually came down to this earth with some kind of timetable, and we need to do our best. Tamar did a lot of things. I didn't even mention some of her hobbies. The minute she had her salary from being a professional army officer, she bought a motorbike and she bought the best equipment and she learned how to do mountain biking, and that was one of her loves. She loved singing. She loved playing the piano and the drums and the guitar. She did a lot of things. So she had a very full life. We miss her terribly, but we accepted our destiny. It's not easy, but we have beautiful children, beautiful grandchildren, and there's a lot of good around also.
We've been asked in the chat by Josh Frankel if you have any other children in the army or those who served in the military service.
Actually, yes, I can be very proud of my children. I just didn't mention them, but our oldest is 34, 5. He's in a very elite unit. He's in professional army. He's stayed on. He's 34. Our daughter was in the army. She was a teacher in the army. Now she's a mom. She's a teacher. And Tamar was our third. Our fourth child, Jonathan, is an helicopter pilot, and he serves. He's got a lot of years to serve, to go. Our fifth child is Asaf. He's he's a navigator in a cargo plane, Army cargo plane. So we have 2 kids that are in the Air Force, and we have a younger daughter who's 16 and a half. She's in high school.
A question we received on our Facebook, is she recognized by the Ministry of Defense as a fallen soldier, although it was during her military service, but not in the, not wearing the uniform?
Yes, there is an addition to the law of is that if you have saved a life during some kind of, either in combat or in some other occasion, not necessarily in combat, you're known by the Defense Ministry. So by her saving lives, we are known by that.
Thank you. I see a question from Lori. She's asking, where do you do other talks and presentations, and where can they get more information?
Information, we're trying to open up a website, Tamar's website, but there's a very active Facebook page. And I talk to pre-army academies, high schools, wherever I'm invited, I go speak about Tamar. And there are other things that are being done. There's a school named after Tamar. There's a Bet Knesset, shul that's named after Tamar. There are lots of things going around. Even young girls, bat mitzvah girls, called me and said they're doing some nice presentation about women, powerful women, pioneer women, and they call me and I talk to them and I tell them about Tamar and send them pictures. So that's what I do.
Thank you.
Tamar is always
very important mission. For those of you who asked on chat, this session is recorded and will be shown on our Facebook page. It's also live streamed on our Department for Diaspora Affairs WZO Facebook page. So if you would like to watch this session once more or send it to your friends, you are more than welcome. Do you have any final sentence to say, Anat, or any message to the young Israelis these days? And if not,
I'm asked a lot of times, Anat, what did you give them to eat, your kids? What did you feed them? So I always answer that I feed them a lot of love, and a lot of love to Israel, to our country, and also to the Jewish people. It doesn't matter wherever they are, but we are Am Israel. We're together, and we have a reason why we have a homeland, and all that love goes to our children. That's like what I want to say.
Okay, toda rabba. Thank you.
Thank you for being
session.
with me, and
thank you for being with us this evening. I'm sure it's very hard.
Not easy. Not an easy night. No.
I'm sure. So thank you once again on behalf of the Department for Diaspora Affairs and the World Zionist Organization. And I would like to remind our participants here with us tonight that tomorrow night on Yom Ha'atzmaut Eve, we will screen the Ben Gurion epilogue, and you'll be able to meet the filmmaker, Yariv Moser. It will be here in the same link tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Yom Ha'atzmaut. We will screen the movie and then have a session with the filmmaker, Yariv Moser. So hope to see you tomorrow evening. And thank you again, Anat. And thank you to everyone. להתראות. Have a good day and good evening.
Thank you. And Yom Ha'atzmaut Sameach tomorrow night.
Yom Ha'atzmaut for tomorrow night. תודה רבה.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.